Golden Radio Hour.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension, a dimension of sound, a dimension of sight, a dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Mr. Sperry, Director of Development. Please hold. Good morning, sir.
Yes, this is market research. Mr. Abercrombie is still at
Mr. Jameson's office, personnel.
I asked Mr. Sterling to return your call. Oh, hello, sir.
Legal department. I'll connect you with Mr. Farwell.
No, he hasn't. Not yet. May I take your number?
Miss Pepper.
Mr. Feathersmith, how are you this morning?
Miss Pepper, when the old gentleman arrives, will you show him in?
Of course, sir. Is there anything I can get you? The mail's on your desk. I have a list of your appointments.
The old gentleman, that would be...
Mr. Dietrich?
Then it's Der Tag.
What's that?
The day.
Today?
Isn't that right, Helen?
Well, he has an appointment.
He's going to get it. Mr. Feathersmith will have him drawn and quartered and served up in the executive dining room with an apple in his mouth.
Shh, there's Mr. Dietrich.
Excuse me. I have an appointment to see Mr. Feathersmith.
Oh, yes, Mr. Dietrich.
If you'd let him know that I'm here.
He's expecting you, sir. Go right in.
Thank you very kindly.
Yes.
Mr. Dietrich, sir?
Come in.
I can just see him now, that big happy grin before he draws blood. Have a cigar, Mr. Dietrich, before I rip you to pieces.
A cigar, Mr. Dietrich?
You're about to witness a murder, a willful predatory case of homicide. The victim is a Mr. Sebastian Dietrich, age 77. The killer is a Mr. William Feathersmith, a robber baron whose body composition consists of refrigeration coils covered by thick skin. In a moment, Mr. Feathersmith will proceed on his daily course of conquest and calumny with yet another business deal. But today's deal will be one of those bizarre transactions that take place only in an odd, out-of-the-way marketplace known as the Twilight Zone.
And now, back to the Twilight Zone with Of Late I Think of Cliffordville, starring H.M. Wynant, with Stacy Keach as your narrator.
I said, would you like a cigar?
No, thank you, Mr. Feathersmith. You asked me to come here at 2, and it is now 2. What did you have on your mind?
You've never cared much for my personal habits, have you, Dietrich? Smoking, for example.
Whether I do or don't is really not at issue, Mr. Feathersmith, but the extent of time that you keep me here is, on the other hand, of considerable import. I'm a busy man. I'd like to get on with it.
Oh, by all means, we've gone a pretty far route, the two of us.
Have we?
I owe you a great deal, Mr. Dietrich. I remember vividly the afternoon many, many years ago, back in Cliffordville. You called me into your office. You ran a rinky-dink, nickel-and-dime little tool shop. And you said, Bill Feathersmith, I like your style, boy. I want you in with me. Do you remember that afternoon?
I shall never forget that afternoon, Mr. Feathersmith. I've thought about it a good deal in the ensuing years, and I've never ceased to regret it.
You never did like me.
I wouldn't say that. I have disliked and detested you with great cordiality. I have found you to be, as of the day you walked into my office, a predatory, grasping, covetous, acquisitive animal. Without heart, without conscience, without compassion, and without even a subtle hint of the most commonplace decency. Does that answer your question?
I give you this, Diedrich. You never were a man to toady around with a lot of phony euphemisms. You always did speak your mind.
And you, Mr. Feathersmith, mark you, this is perhaps the singular compliment I can dredge up, have always been a man to speak yours, so why don't you?
All right, then. I'll do precisely that. See this map? It's my empire. Mining over here, electronics here, here and here, lumber, railroads, minerals, an industrial complex I built up step by step, piece by piece, and in which I take pardonable pride. Yet there's a piece missing.
Go on.
Well, that is to say, there was a piece missing. The Diedrich Tool and Die plant.
Was?
A good, substantial plant employing 13,000 people, some 40 years in operation, not always perfectly managed.
But sufficiently well to make you move heaven and earth to try to buy it. Thank God I won't live to see the day when you get your greasy hands on it.
Of course, as a matter of your financial problems, I happen to know, Mr. Diedrich, that you secured a loan of $13 million. This is the note here, isn't it?
How do you...
I bought the note, Mr. Diedrich. I paid an exorbitant amount of money, far more than it was worth, but it was, let's say, an exceptional opportunity for our lives to crisscross again.
What is your point?
The point is right here on the note. It says payable on demand. So, on demand it is. I want it paid. Not tomorrow. Now, this moment. I want your personal check in the amount of $13 million, or I'm very much afraid I'll have to send out the painters to the Diedrich Tool and Die Works and cross your name off the sign.
Feathersmith, if you call in that note, you'll ruin me. You'll put me into bankruptcy. You'll kill off everything I have, everything I own.
You're a most discerning man. Here it is only 6 minutes past 2. 6 minutes! That's all the time it's taken for you to comprehend that I've managed to kill you off.
Mr. Diedrich, are you all right?
Sir, is everything...
Would you like to sit down? You look so pale.
Miss Pepper? Miss Pepper? Where is she? What time is it?
Oh, excuse me, sir. I didn't know you were still here.
I'm here, my good man. I'm assuredly here. And here is the mountaintop. The high rung on the ladder.
I'll finish cleaning later.
No. You may join me on the mountaintop. Here I am, way up on the mountain, like who was it? Genghis Khan or Julius Caesar? Julius Feathersmith.
Don't worry, sir. I'll clean it up.
Who are you, anyway?
I'm Hackett, sir. The custodian, top 3 floors.
Well, how would you like a drink, Mr. Custodian of the top 3 floors? Yes, I have another bottle somewhere.
Thank you, no, but I appreciate it.
How long have you been performing this illustrious task?
34 years, sir. I've been 34 years in the building. I got a gold watch last year.
A gold watch? After 34 years. That's practically as long as I've been in the building. But I didn't start here. No. I know indeed. I started in a little town called Cliffordville. Never hear of Cliffordville, Mr. Hackett?
That's a That's a coincidence, Mr. Feathersmith. I was born in Cliffordville. Grew up there.
Well, then we have something in common. We're both from Cliffordville, and we both put on our pants, one leg at a time. But there, the similarity ends. Come here, I want to show you something.
Yes, sir?
See this picture on the wall? Know who it is?
Why, I'm not sure.
That's William Feathersmith. Me. Taken in front of our old home in Cliffordville. Now that was a town, wasn't it? That was a real place. Stately trees, gracious homes, beautiful sprawling park, and real people, people who knew the value of a buck, people who worked hard to get it. There was none of this crazy stuff about unions, retirement benefits, or antitrust suits, or any of that claptrap. Those were the real times, when a man could go up to the stars if he had a mind to, and the legs to carry him, and the fingers to reach out and grasp. Not like now. Nah, not like now at all.
I reckon so.
I'm going home now, Mr. Hackett. May as well. No place else to go.
Yes, sir.
I've been sitting here for 3 hours, all by myself, thinking about Cliffordville. About how I wished it was that way again. I had an old man here today, Diedrich. He gave me my first real job. Well, I fixed his wagon. He never liked me, I never liked him. We both used each other, and I got the most use out of it. I broke him to pieces today, just like he would have done to me if he could. And he's tried, Mr. Hackett, let me tell you. He's tried.
Good night, then, Mr. Feathersmith.
William Feathersmith, what a crock. Alexander Feathersmith is more like it. Alexander the Great Feathersmith. I've got everything there is to get. But I'm still hungry. Understand? I'm hungry. A 20-course meal. I've got a tapeworm inside me that's taken every bit of it.
He cried.
What? What did you say?
Alexander the Great. He cried because he had no more worlds to conquer. I guess maybe he was kind of like you, Mr. Feathersmith.
You know what I wish? I wish I could go back to Cliffordville. Back 50 years ago and start all over. Because getting it all, that was the kick. Not having it, getting it. Good night, Mr. Hackett, custodian of the top 3 floors. Don't forget to wind your gold watch. Oh, at last. Hold on. This isn't the lobby. Hey, wait! I said wait! Where? The 13th floor. Oh, great. But well, this building doesn't have a 13th floor. Hello? Who's there? Hello? Hello? Oh, I'm glad you're still here. The elevator let me off at the wrong floor.
Oh, how do you do, sir? I was just about to close up.
Who are you?
Devlin.
Just Devlin?
The first name's not important.
No. I own this building.
I'm aware of that, Mr. Feathersmith.
What I'm not aware of is you're having an office here, whoever you are.
Oh, I've just opened it, Mr. Feathersmith.
Devlin's Travel Service.
As a matter of fact, I opened it for your convenience.
Mine?
Would you care to come in?
Why?
Why, because, Mr. Feathersmith, we've got some business to transact, you and I. Please, have a seat. There's no reason why we shouldn't be comfortable, is there?
I must have missed something. We have business? What sort of business?
Travel, of course. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Sit, please. Now, isn't there anywhere you'd like to go? Your heart's desire?
Well, there was this town.
Of course there was.
The name of the town was Cliffordville.
Ah, yes, Cliffordville. And it was a pleasant town?
It was better than pleasant. And there were the local girls. Oh, beautiful, just beautiful.
They always are. Go on. You were saying?
I remember old Doc Wagner, too. Treated me when I broke my arm. That's another thing. There was none of this blood pressure, basal metabolism, cholesterol nonsense. Old Doc Wagner looked at your tongue and wrote out a prescription, and that was it. And the food, simple, fair, healthy, and delicious. That was the way life was then. Simple.
And you enjoyed that, didn't you?
What? No, I didn't have time to enjoy anything. But I did what I wanted to do. I worked, I scrambled, I dug, I scratched, I pushed, drove, and I went up. Understand? I went up.
And now you're all the way up. But you're simply bored. That's what it is, isn't it, Mr. Feathersmith?
I'm worse than bored. I don't have any purpose now. No plans. No drive because there's no place left to go.
Are you sure?
The sign on your door, what does it mean exactly?
A succinct suggestion of the kind of service I offer, Mr. Feathersmith.
And that is?
Just as it says. Travel. Or more to the point, if you don't mind the rather melodramatic terminology, one might call it time travel.
Miss Devlin, I think we may have something to talk about after all.
Indeed, Mr. Feathersmith. You've got everything you want. And the pleasure is not in the acquisition. It's in the struggle to acquire. Isn't that the sense of it?
Go ahead.
So, let's do this. Let's send you back to Cliffordville. The Cliffordville of 50 years ago. And you can start fresh. Acquire. Build. Consolidate. Do it all over again. How does that sound?
You're not dealing with a bumpkin, Miss Devlin. This isn't one of those sell your soul for a nickel country boys. Try this. You send me back in time to Cliffordville, but I want to look like I looked 50 years ago.
Agreed.
Number 2, I want to keep my memory, everything that's happened since, not impaired one bit.
Check again.
And I want the town to be exactly as it was, the same people.
All very easily arranged.
Now for the price. I suppose the standard payment is, well, what you call a soul.
On occasion, that is part of the transaction, but in your case, I believe we got a hold of your soul some time ago. Let me check. Oh, yes, here it is. There was the crash of the Trans-Mississippi debentures, the company you bought and manipulated. You ruined several hundred people with that bit of chicanery. The bulk of your soul went over to us shortly thereafter, and there are several other items here. Private life, subconscious thoughts and dreams, indirect murders, people you drove to ruin, hopelessness and suicide. No, I'm afraid your soul is not yours to negotiate.
Then what do you charge?
Cash, Mr. Feathersmith. The old Missoula. I have your current assets tabulated here. Were you to liquidate as of this moment, you'd be worth precisely $136,891,412.14.
You're very thorough.
We have to be. Now, the cost for what you ask is nominal. The entire bill, and this covers transportation, clothing, the retaining of your memory, the maintenance of the town in its historically accurate form, including its citizenry, is $136,888,006, leaving you a balance of $2,812.14.
Highway robbery!
Quite a little nest egg, considering.
Considering that I know where the oil is, just outside of town. 1,400 acres not discovered until they brought in the first well. And of course I know the stock market in advance and every important invention over the years. Before it happens, I can get in on the ground floor.
The absolute basement. All things considered, Mr. Feathersmith, it's a fortune.
You just send me back there with my bankroll and watch my smoke. How soon can I go?
I'll handle the liquidation for you. Just sign this power of attorney, and there's no reason why you can't leave, say, tomorrow morning.
Done.
Exemplary, Mr. Feathersmith. You're one of the few remaining rugged individualists. A pleasure doing business with you. Now, Union Airways, 8 a.m., followed by a rail connection the rest of the way. I'm afraid there was no airport near Cliffordville back then. You'll arrive at noon, exactly 50 years ago. And needless to say, I wish you everything that you deserve.
Little lady, you don't have to wish me anything. I'll get everything I go after. Everything.
You know, Mr. Feathersmith, I believe you. In fact, I have no doubt whatsoever. Care for a cigar?
Here's your stop, sir.
Are you sure?
Yeah, this is it.
Yes, there's the town square.
You need a hand with your bags?
I don't have any bags, and I don't need a hand from anybody.
Then good day to you, sir. Enjoy your stay in Cliffordville. All aboard!
Cliffordville. The devil, you say?
Yes, sir. May I help you?
I'd like to see the president of the bank.
That would be Mr. Gibbons. Do you have an appointment?
No, but he'll see me.
He's having his lunch right now.
Tell him Mr. Feathersmith is here to talk about investments. Some very important investments.
All right, sir. I'll tell him.
Take your time, sweetie. By the time the bank closes, I'll have this dumpy little milk stop tied up with a ribbon around it, deliverable to me.
I'll only be a moment, sir. I don't normally let business interfere with pleasure.
I never allow pleasure to interfere with business. The name is Feathersmith. I'm not a peddler, a drummer, or door-to-door salesman. I'm here to make myself rich, and in the process, you'll pick up a few crumbs of your own.
I beg your pardon?
The Widow Turner's land. The south end of town. Is it available?
The Widow Turner's land.
There were 1,400 acres. Mr. Gibbons, is there an echo in here?
No, indeed. It's just that... Well, sir, you're talking about a valuable piece of property. A beautiful spot. Singing birds and constant sunshine. A Garden of Eden for a man with vision. The potential is unlimited.
It's a swamp for mosquitoes, and the potential's malaria. I just want you to tell me who owns it and how much they want for it.
As a matter of fact, it was purchased from the late Mrs. Turner's estate by yours truly, in partnership with a Mr. Sebastian Diedrich.
Diedrich, huh? What do you know? Well, do you suppose you and Mr. Diedrich could be persuaded to part with your land, assuming the price is right?
As valuable as it is, well, sir, everything has its price. How does $8 an acre sound?
Lovely.
Good.
If I were an idiot. But I'm not an idiot, Mr. Gibbons. I'll give you $1 an acre.
Well, why don't we strike a compromise and say $6?
Let's say $1.50.
You drive a hard bargain. Mr. Diedrich and I might hold still for $4 an acre.
Mr. Gibbons, you wouldn't hold still for a back rub if it couldn't be converted into currency. $2 an acre, and that's it.
2, you say?
2, I said. And 10 minutes from now, it'll go down to $1.60. Going.
Gone, Mr. Feathersmith. I presume this will be a cash transaction.
You bring the deed over to my hotel tonight. Properly signed and notarized, and you'll have your money.
Well, now, sir, this is the way I like to do business. No fiddling around, just two staunch men of goodwill who know what they want. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Feathersmith?
I'll agree with you all the way down the line, Mr. Gibbons, as long as you keep both hands on the table.
Ah, Mr. Feathersmith.
Right on time.
I don't believe you two gentlemen have met. This is my associate, Mr. Diedrich. How do you do?
Yes, I recognize you, Mr. Diedrich. So very, very much younger, though.
You have me at a disadvantage, sir.
Never mind. Sit down. Please.
I presume you have the cash?
1,403 acres, $2,806.
You like to put all your eggs in one basket, don't you, Mr. Feathersmith?
Don't concern yourself, Mr. Diedrich. I happen to have an exclusive contract with the hen.
Waiter, beer's all around.
Right away, sir.
All right, gentlemen, let's get down to cases, shall we? When it comes to a fast shuffle, I don't mind telling you I'm a very knowledgeable dealer. Comment, Mr. Diedrich?
You have the floor, Mr. Feathersmith. You seem rather anxious to have it.
Just a human frailty to gloat a bit when one has just skinned a couple of professional skinners. I suppose you're thinking that when this pigeon flew into town, you plucked him bald. Well, I sent a telegram to a geologist this morning. He came in on the 1 o'clock train, spent the afternoon out at the Widow Turner's land, made some preliminary soil tests. Care to hear the results?
Feel free, sir.
Then I'll oblige. That crummy swampland you sold for $2 an acre is worth 1,000,000 times that. There's oil in that ground. Oil, understand? Black gold, enough to produce 500 barrels a day for the next 1,000 years. Oh, I swear I can almost feel sorry for you. Maybe you didn't hear me.
Oh, we heard you.
Oil. How's that for a shocker?
Well, at the time, it did make us gulp.
At the time?
4 years ago, when the first geological tests were done. There was no doubt then that the land had oil under it, 6,000 feet under it.
Which means that it might just as well be on the moon. There's no way that oil can be taken out.
What do you mean, no way? I could drill down 1 mile, 2 miles if need be.
Well, you could, perhaps, Mr. Feathersmith, but nobody else on Earth could, unless you've already invented such a drill.
Of course, I forgot. It wasn't until several years later that they came up with a drill bit strong enough to...
Something wrong, Mr. Feathersmith? Not feeling too well?
Something I ate.
Oh, something you ate, no doubt. Something like crow, sir?
Excuse me.
Mr. Kronk, this here is Mr.
Feathersmith.
Yeah, he says he wants to talk to us about inventions.
What kind of inventions?
Something that'll turn this 2-bit bicycle shop into a factory.
Such as?
Well, for starters, how about a motor-driven scooter for kids?
You want to enlarge upon that, Mr. Feathersmith?
What do you mean enlarge upon it? It's a gadget that gets kids around town. Teenagers, too, even businessmen.
What's it used for?
It's used to make about $200 million. That's what it's used for. Lightweight aluminum with wheels and an electric motor.
What's wrong with foot power?
Everyone's going to want these. Kids will be begging Santa Claus for them. Look, I'm handing you the whole thing on a platter. All you have to do is build it.
Well, I'll tell you what. You draw me a blueprint and some specifications, and Mr. Clark and I will give it a try.
I'm no crummy draftsman. I've given you the principle. All you have to do is manufacture it.
Not without a blueprint and specs and some backing. You have any money?
I can get it. Anyone with a little imagination could see.
Well, only place that makes loans around here is the bank. That'd be Mr. Gibbons. You better talk to him first, with your blueprints, of course.
I don't need you. What other machine shops are there in this hick town?
Well, you might try Otis over at the gas station. He's got all kinds of tools. Of course, he's pretty busy regrooving people's tires.
See you in the funny papers, boys. You'll live to regret this. Mark my words.
What was his name again? Featherhead?
Modems. You connect your home computer to the telephone line.
Your home what?
Cable television. You pick up the signal from a satellite.
What's a satellite?
Listen, you download it over a dish network.
Dishes? But nobody watches TV in the kitchen.
Pantyhose. I say take off your garter belt now and throw it out. Now.
And I say get out of my store. All the way out. You have a filthy mouth, sir.
Diedrich! I know this is your house. Come out here.
Who's out there?
It's me, Feathersmith.
Do you know what time it is?
It's 50 years too early. That's what time it is. Listen, I played it all wrong. I should have had it done the way it happened in the first place. I'll start in the morning, just like I did before.
What are you talking about?
You said I had get up and go. You said I had drive. Then I went to work for you and I moved up from there.
You want to do what again?
I want to go to work for you.
I wouldn't hire you if you were the last man on Earth. You're a loudmouth clod born to get suckered out of his last quarter. Now let me have my sleep.
I got to rest. Oh, this pain in my chest.
Are you all right, sir? You look pale. Why don't you sit down on this bench?
Doc Wagner? Is that you?
Now, you must be the new fella in town.
Nothing but idiots in this place.
Now, take it easy. That's not a very good pulse. Not good at all.
Never mind that. How do I get through to these village idiots here? They're peddling their lives away on bicycles, and I'm trying to give them the space age.
I don't know much about that. But I can tell a bad pulse when I feel one, and yours feels like the heart of a 75-year-old man. You sure don't take care of yourself.
What did you say? The pulse of a what?
A man in his 70s. If I've said it before, I've said it 100 times. Modern man drives himself to an early grave just trying to keep up with the pace of life nowadays.
Why, that dirty, cheap little thief. She didn't change me inside. That's why I'm so tired. That's why I can't make it here, because inside I'm old, the way I was.
Swallow 2 of these pills.
You horse doctor. I remember when you were diagnosing acute appendicitis as cramp colic. Go on, get out of here. You couldn't diagnose anything.
Well, I can diagnose insanity when I see it. And that's what my diagnosis is in your case. Insanity. Plain and simple.
I don't need you. I don't need this jerkwater town.
If I were you, I'd check myself in for observation. At a mental hospital.
Well, you're not me. It was that Devlin dame. That dirty, two-timing little hustler.
Why, Mr. Feathersmith, everything all right? You look a bit queasy.
You miserable.
Now, let's be fair. Nothing was said about changing your chronological age. You wanted to look 30. And you do. We said nothing about your insides. Your heart, veins, kidneys.
What about this town?
You wanted it as it was. The contract was very specific. It's really not my fault that your memory is so imperfect. And as to the possibility of investments, your problem was that you leapt before you looked.
But everything else is wrong, too. I mean, the deals, the inventions. They've never heard of space shuttles or microchips or...
Of course they haven't. And you, Mr. Feathersmith, because you're a wheeler-dealer, a raider, because you're a taker instead of a bringer, you are now what is commonly referred to as behind the old 8-ball.
Look, I don't want much. I swear to you. Make it the way it was, that's all. Get me back with Dietrich. Let me start out there, that's all I ask.
I think we might be able to arrange that. Mind you, purely as a gesture of sympathy, though it hurts me to mouth the word. Frankly, you are so unhappy, so totally abject a creature that I cannot find it in my... well, in the place where you'd normally find a heart, to leave you here. There's a train out at midnight. A special train.
Bless you, Miss Devlin.
Please.
I won't forget this.
There is a small surcharge for the service.
How much?
$40. Things do cost, Mr. Feathersmith.
I don't have $40. I don't have 10. I don't have...
What's this in your pocket? Well, how about that? This is your night. You have one negotiable item left. The deed. All you need to do is liquidate it.
But who'd buy it?
That I wouldn't know.
What do I do?
You've got a few seconds. Find yourself a customer. It's as simple as that.
But where?
There's a young fellow over there on his way home. You could ask him.
It's bargain night, right here.
Huh?
1,400 acres of singing birds, constant sunshine, all for $40. Here, please.
Well, for $40, I might be able to...
All aboard! Please hurry. There. You won't be sorry. You'll be rich. Hey, what's your name, young fella?
Hackett, sir. Bill Hackett.
Yes, want something?
I was gonna clean up, sir.
So clean up. Who are you?
Feathersmith, sir.
Great old town.
What is, sir?
I was just thinking about Cliffordville. That's where I grew up, got my start.
That's a coincidence. I grew up in Cliffordville, too.
Well, now, how similar we are, Mr. Feathersmith. We both came from Cliffordville, and we both put our pants on one leg at a time. And here we both wind up in the same building, each with his own particular function, eh?
Yes, sir, our own particular function. They gave me a gold watch 4 years ago. My 40th year as custodian.
Well, now, maybe for your next 40 years, if you really apply yourself, Featherstone, I'll get you a box of these imported Cuban cigars. What do you think of that?
That sounds great, Mr. Hackett, sir.
Have one now, why don't you? On me.
Mr. William J. Feathersmith, tycoon, who tried the track one more time and found it muddier than he remembered it, proving with at least some degree of conclusiveness that nice guys don't always finish last, and some people should quit when they're ahead. Our tale of Iron Men and irony, delivered FOB from the Twilight Zone.
Hi, this is Carl Amari, producer of the Twilight Zone radio dramas. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our official website at twilightzoneradio.com, where you'll get the latest news and information on these Twilight Zone radio dramas. Plus, at twilightzoneradio.com, you can digitally download 3 free episodes or any of our episodes for only $1.95 each. In this age of ever-changing technology, we've decided to make these episodes instantly available to you by making the Twilight Zone radio dramas a digital download-only series. This means that this series will no longer be offered on CD. The CD collections at our website are now being offered while supplies last at buy one, get one free. So be sure to get your favorites before they're sold out. Be sure to visit us often, and I'll see you in the zone.
Of Late I Think of Cliffordville, starring H.M. Wynant, with Stacy Keach as your narrator, was adapted for radio by Dennis Etchison and based on a script by Rod Serling from a story by Malcolm Jameson. Heard in the cast were Susan Hart, Joe Forbrick, Doug James, Christian Stolte, Mike Baccarella, Jeff Lupetin, Meg Thalken, Jessica Schramm, Lynn Foley, Carl Amari, and Christy Schramm. To learn more about the Twilight Zone radio dramas and to obtain audio cassettes and CDs of these programs, visit our website at twilightzoneradio.com. This copyrighted radio series is produced and directed by Carl Amari and Roger Wolski for Falcon Picture Group. Doug James speaking.